how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me and you, who were once lost and now we are found. We were once blind, but now we see. Glory be to the Almighty God for the grace. Thank you so much for watching Family TV. This is my story. Edrine Mukalazi is my name. This program is only and only on Family TV, where we enrich your life. Call upon all your family members. Remind those who are not yet on Family TV so that they should not miss this exclusive story. And guess who we have today? We have another special guest. Days back when we hosted Reverend Medad Birungi Bya Yesu, he told us that one of the things he would wish to change in the church setting is making the healing and deliverance ministry present in every church. Yes, maybe without this ministry, we wouldn't have this testimony we are yet to hear. But glory be to God for the grace. That is why we have our guest seated on the chair right here with us. The one we have here is an intercessor for the Archbishop's team. But that's not all what he does. Of course, he's an evangelist. He preaches the word of God. And then he's a goodwill ambassador of the presidential initiative on banana. But then he's the founder and CEO of Good Samaritan Ministries. Join me as we welcome evangelist Brother Edrine Mugisha. Brother Mugisha.
Yes, please.
We are delighted that we have you today on my story.
Thank you so much.
Those people are always anxiously waiting for the guests we bring who share with us their stories, their testimonies, and then somehow they become encouraged, they become strengthened, and their hope is built again.
Glory
Kindly greet them as we continue.
My name is Evangelist Brother Edrine Mugisha. I thank God that I'm on this Family TV. It is a great day. It's enjoyable. I'm a minister of the Lord. I've preached the gospel, but out of a test. You know, when you are not tested, you can't get a testimony.
Exactly.
And because of that, that's why I tell you that I'm glad. And you cannot have a testimony when you are not tested.
Yes.
And you cannot have a breakthrough when you have not had a fight. There must be a fight somewhere. So I'm glad that you can really call me to give this testimony.
Amen. We are also anxiously waiting to hear this big testimony. But before we go to this big testimony, where does your life start from?
My life starts from the healing. You see,
No, I mean the birth time. Where were you born from?
I was born in Ruchiga, now, which is the Ruchiga district, but now it's Kawale district. And
I think it was Kawale district.
It was Kawale district, but currently is Ruchiga district. But I was, of course, my father and my mother was a teacher, a primary teacher. So I was born in as a child of a primary teacher.
What about the dad?
My dad, when I was born, he had died, but he was a former culture officer in the former regimes. But by the time I grew up, my father had died because he died when I had 4 years.
So you don't have any much memories with him?
No, I don't.
So you were raised up by
my mother,
who is a primary teacher?
Who was a primary teacher, now retired. Actually, my mother is now a retired counselor. She even stood for counselorship for LC5. And our village now is a municipality. So she was LC5 counselor, now counselor of the municipality, but retired. Recently, she says, I don't want to join politics. But so amazingly, because...
How many were you? Because I look at this single mother who is a primary teacher, and I guess the finances were not all that.
Yeah, we were 9 in our family, and actually she cared for all of us. Because you see, our firstborn, up to the lastborn, we all studied.
Were you the lastborn?
I was the second lastborn. Okay. And currently the lastborn is a lawyer. So you can guess. However, I don't want to go into much in titles of all members of the family. Because it will turn it into political, into another story now.
Let us concentrate on your story.
Yes. So, I was in the 9 of us. I am all of us were born normal. We were studied very well. Because I went to Changa Boys Primary School, one of the strongest primary schools in our village, in Ruchiga district now. By then, Kavali, and it was a SPAB primary school. And I completed P7 very well. I was even a head prefect of that Changa Boys Primary School. The memories I remember, I started debating clubs. There is Changa Girls. I remember when I was I am the first head boy to start debating clubs.
You must have been creative.
Yes, in the primary school. And by then, my head teacher was called Stuart Diamukama. I remember when I was a head boy, and even my young brother was also a head boy of the same school. So, I was so SPAB, very normal.
I now see you must have tapped the leadership skills from your mom.
Yeah, our mom was really very strong. And then, I did my primary very well. I passed very well in the first grade. Then I had to go to Kigezi.
Did you also sit for PLE? Or
yes, I sat for PLE. Then I got my first grade. Then I had to go to Kigezi College Butobere for my senior one.
Was it the school of your choice or circumstances?
It was a school of my choice because I was a SPAB boy and I had performed very well. And at senior 2 in Kigezi College Butobere, it's when life changed.
What do you mean by life changing?
At senior 2, in the holiday of the first term, it's when I got sickness, which was unusual. And I was poisoned, I got sick. And after that sickness, I got blind. Totally
Hold on,
blind.
You're taking us faster.
Yes.
You were poisoned, you got sick. We want to see the relationship between all these circumstances.
Because you see...
You said it all started with sickness.
It started with, there is some art of Satanism, which you may not understand. It is said that I was poisoned. That's what I say, it is said. But what I know, out of that, I got sudden sickness. I got blind instantly.
Was it this sickness. Normal poison that people know all, according to the report you were given?
It was the poison of which other people can, when people can be jealous to you, and they see that, for example, in your family, you are all fine, and in their family there are other things, then they want to get equalizers, or to put you down. Then they want
so that you look like them.
So that you look like them, or you look like the whole world. And some people can even make it sacrifice. There are people who sacrifice other people's children.
Yeah.
They look at you and they say, let us sacrifice him. Even if they are not your relatives. So that you act as their sacrifice for their riches and other things. So there are very many circumstances. But the content of the matter is, out of that circumstance, I got...
Like, did you take this poison? Did you take it through food? Were you given water?
Nobody can tell. Because as a very vibrant and stubborn boy who liked parties, to enjoy parties, we like eating, you go in parties wherever the party is.
Whether you're invited or not.
Whether you're invited or not. So you cannot tell whether you ate poison, whether you what. But what I know, it was after attending very many unrecognized parties in that time. So even your parents may trace and say you went in the party there, you went in the party there, but to avoid feelings of pinning people without a real evidence, you just say, well, wow, it may have come from parties, but the fact is the evidence of that, because the sickness involved vomiting, the sickness involved direct paralysis of the legs, because the legs got paralyzed, the eyes got blind instantly, and I couldn't move, and I couldn't. Which other sickness is that? Of course, you have to.
Were you in boarding or you were a day scholar?
By that time, I was in a holiday. I was in a holiday, and that's when I got that sickness. So, you know, when you get sick when you are in the holidays, the school even does sometimes at senior two, who knows you, the school even can't know that the child never came back. So that was how the story started, and the story of sickness after sickness. And actually, the sickness was too.
How long did all these happen? Did they happen at once? The paralysis, the blindness?
Yes, because you see,
did they all come at once?
Yes, they came at once, like in the same week. Sickness.
What came first, the paralysis or the blindness?
What I remember, because you know, all of that which I'm telling you, I'll tell you when I came to understand. To come to my senses, it was after 3 years. To come to my senses. It was after 3 years when I could, at least after a lot of treatments, because I remember the late Ambassador Kachimantambi, who was an ambassador of Uganda in Brussels in Belgium, he tried his best, he was my uncle, to take me to different hospitals, Nairobi, in cooperation with my mother, and wherever. So I think they managed to treat what is physical, but they couldn't treat what is spiritual. Because they treated me, and after the 3 years, what could be noticed is that I can come. They help me to move on a white cane. They help me to walk, but I couldn't see. But you could look at my, you know, when you are not born blind, the eyes remain normal. So people who could, when you see me, you see the eyes are normal, but I can't see you.
And I think you're seeing them.
No, you can't see.
No,
for them, they see.
I imagine. I look at you. I think you
are seeing me when I'm not seeing you. But when I needed help. So my mother, basically as a teacher, she had no option. She said, now this one, of course other people said, in our language we call it a chiraji. Somebody who cannot reason. This one is useless, can keep home, there is no hope for him. That is exactly chiraji in our Ruchiga. Yeah? In Uganda they call it a chisiru, muskasiru, so that now you have no value. You have no value. I remember the one who was the head teacher of mine, Mr. Stuart Yamukama, is still alive. He came to see me at home. He said, if I can talk to God, the way how this boy was brilliant, he wouldn't be like how he is. I remember he cried. And of course, like any other person.
Was he crying because of the situation you are going
through? Yes,
through?
the situation I'm going through. Do you know that when you are blind, and you know, I was blind, and the paralysis could come. The hands were shaking. I couldn't hold the glass like this. They could hold it for me because the hands were, you hold and water is pouring. And so the only solution was to give me water, put down. And doctors couldn't even find out exactly which sickness was that.
And if you were around Uganda, they would have said, Wakwata kunazala.
But even it could be beyond that, because now you are blind, you are paralyzed, you can't see. But I mean, the mind is reasoning. What that was, you could hear what people were saying.
Could you hear what people were saying?
Yes, you could hear them. You could hear what they are saying, but you don't see them. You could hear some even celebrating. Let them face it. Let them also have a stupid person in their home.
Like, seriously?
Yes, I could hear them. Some of them I still see them, the people who used to abuse me. And then with time, I think it's when some good Samaritans, people who can, I remember there is a certain man, he died. He's called the late David Begmam. He's from our village. He came, he was like LC2 chairman. He said, what we can do, let the whole family gather and we get him a wife to marry. So that he can
How old were you?
I think there, I was like in 16 years.
So it would be now your wife?
It would be your wife to take you to the toilet, feed you, and remember all my brothers are going to school.
Was he saying this because they were tired of taking
No,
care of
he
you,
was saying this
as a way of sympathizing?
He was sympathizing. But which my mother was not happy with. Because my mother said, no, this boy will study. Actually, they had even had a plan to get me a wife. I remember that. It is my mother who refused. And said, no. And the late Ambassador Kachibanda said, my mother said, no, this boy can study. And remember, when I could hear that, I could be very happy. There is a lady, she was called Doreen Barihamwe, who was in special needs and special education. She's the one who came and visited my mother and said, this boy can go and study. In Uganda, there are only 3 schools that can teach blind students, but they can teach students who are born blind. Me, I was not born blind. They can teach students who are below 5 years who can be taught Braille. Braille is the blinding of the blind, the writing of the blind. But I mean, when you are not born blind, even the feeling is not in the hand. So
because this is known to you.
Yes. So now they are saying I have to go to study. My mother now enters in a line of me going to study. The late Ambassador Kachimantambi says I will facilitate. He was a very jolly. Actually, God also likes good people. Because Ambassador Kachimantambi would have not died. I mean, God cannot take the useless. I mean, there are very many useless people in this country who are stealing, who are grabbing people. God can't take them. But a good person, God also wants those. So
he wants
God
to stay with the good.
The good. So because he took my late uncle, now he said I can make this boy study. The first thing he did.
Were you related to him, or he was?
Yes,
just a
he
good
was
Samaritan?
my uncle.
Okay.
He was born with my dad.
Okay.
He was and a close friend of my dad. So he was Actually, he followed my dad, and all my uncles had died. I think he was the only uncle who was there. So he said this, and he was an ambassador of Uganda in Brussels in Belgium. He first went to Italy, so he could come to the village. When he comes to the village, I was a person to be visited. Then he told Mommy, this guy can go to study. Then there are only 3 schools in Uganda which can teach blind children who are born blind. One is Hombe Girls in Kabale. Another one is Iganga Girls in Iganga. The last one was Madela in Soroti. Now my uncle, because he was in Kampala, he gave me a car that they take me to Iganga to get a place. When I reached at the gate of Iganga, the head teacher looked and said, no, let that man not come out of the car. Because they said there is a man who has come to look for the place. He said, for us, we teach young children who are born blind. Not this old man. Remember, these schools are in a girls' school. I remembered well
that's so insulting.
No, the head teacher said, I even heard what she said. She said, this is a very old mosaic. Yes.
At 16 years?
Yes. We will spoil our children. Nobody can teach him. And the car turned from the gate. Iganga girls, we didn't enter inside. I rested until I entered the inside when I was going to preach. But that time I didn't enter. Now we had to drive to Madela in Soroti. You can imagine the distance from Iganga girls to Madela in Soroti. How many districts? Iganga, Mbale, Bukedea, Kumi. You go.
There are very many.
We reached in Soloti. When we reached in Madela in Soloti, they allowed us to enter the compound. The head teacher was not there. The deputy was not there. And they welcomed us well. By the Madela girls, they welcomed us well. They gave me mango fruits to eat. I remember, give the boy mango fruits. Give the man. I was not the boy. So they brought mango fruits. I ate. I was with the driver.
What was making this people call you a man? Had you put on much weight, or? We Bachiga, you can be physically. I was born a giant. Even at my local name, they used to call me giant. I was big, like my size. If you look at my brothers, they are small, all of them. But me, my size, I am the one who is big. When you look at them, you think I'm like their father. So I think this is what made them call you a man.
But you see, a man coming to study anyway. I don't know whichever was in their mind. But then the certain teacher came in Soloti. Said,
You're still in the car?
No, this time they removed us from the car.
Okay.
They allowed us to enter the compound. We were eating mango fruits. They said, unfortunately, this man can't be allowed here. We teach children who are born blind.
Had they listened to your story?
No.
Now, how did you know that you were not born blind?
No, the driver told them he's coming to look for the press. What, you know? You know, sometimes when you have problems, people even they don't want to talk to you. They want to first talk to the people whom you are with. And don't ask me because I was blind. But I would hear the driver talk to them. So I don't know if they made the sign to first talk to him. You know, when you are blind, somebody even can make a sign and you don't know. Then I had the discussion. The driver said, "Banange chitalo tebajokukiriza." He was a Muganda. And then in my heart I said, now we drove back, and remember it was late. We had to drive. I remember it was 5:30. We had to drive from Soloti. Now you can count the hours we got in Kabale. Because I remember we reached in Kabale.
From Soloti to Kabale,
yes, direct. Because remember we had left Ambassador Kachima in Kabale. He wanted to go to Brussels in Belgium, but he was in the village. He was willing to see me go to school. So the driver had to drive back. Because he used to use the Rwanda to Brussels as a shortcut there. So I mean, and I was in his car, these flag cars, you know. So I mean, I was in an expensive car, but it couldn't give me a press in a secondary school. With an escort, by the way. But I couldn't get a press in those two girls' schools. Then when I were going, then my mother, I think in the morning, then my uncle said, "Let your mother try. I think I have to go back." So I knew now life has ended. Then in the morning, my mother said, "We have to go to Kabale. There is one school called Hombe Girls." And that morning,
why are there only girls' schools that teach the blind?
That reason I don't know, but what I realized in Uganda, I think they thought girls are more helpful than men, because it is only in Uganda. Maybe now that I'm hearing St. Peter's in Mbara, they have put that section, but they were purely girls' school. Even St. Helens is a girls' school primary. So that one, maybe you should, since you are a reporter, you'll find out. But then, me, I know they were girls' schools. Then my mother, she had to say that we have to go to Hombe, Kabale. Remember, we are in Imparo, in Ruchiga. There was an old man called the Mzee Kampkao. He died. He used to have a pickup that goes to Kabale every morning. So it used to go at 7. Then it took us. But when it reached in Ruchiri, when you go to Kabale, there is a lock, a big lock. Then the car broke down, the tire. Then I had to walk with my mother holding me. One time I will take you cover her story. She will tell you it is a tiresome story. She walked with me from that hill, holding a blind person. We walked on foot. From that Ruchiri, you can take like 3 hours. 4 hours to walk with an old woman, but of course she looked a bit younger, but old.
How can you approximate that distance?
Oh, it is like from here to Changela. Yes.
That is a long distance.
Yes, we took 3 hours, 4 hours to reach there. But we walked on foot. And we went to Hombe. I remember when we were climbing the hill of Rugarama, as we got to Hombe with my mother, she fell down. And I was also blind. Then the people who were, "Oh, Banange, the old woman has fallen." Then she came and got hold of me. We reached at Hombe Girls. When I reached at Hombe Secondary, remember, this girls' school, the secondaries have the unit for the blind, but they also have primaries, but also girls' schools have unit for the blind. But the centers are always in secondaries. So they sent us to Hombe Secondary. That's where we should go. When you remember, I had reached in senior 2. So when we reached at Hombe Secondary gate, we met the head teacher at the gate. That head teacher was called, I think, Pistin Yeba. She's still alive. She said, "No, this one, you first take him to the primary to learn how the blind is right. Then later we'll come to the secondary." At least now that teacher was a bit polite. But then we went home by primary. Remember, it was now approaching to 3. And remember, my mother
3
has
p.m.
My mother has to travel back. The vehicle of that old man used to go at 5. So she's hurrying to get the time. And we reached at the primary. As we are climbing the primary, teachers strike. By the way, do you know that people can charm you and the spirit of rejection moves with you?
We are telling our people out there.
Yes. People can poison you or charm you or bewitch you. And the spirit of rejection, even you who doesn't know me, when I come to greet you, hey, what's wrong with this man? So, I reached when I was climbing at Hombe Primary. Teachers said, that old man is coming to study. Nobody can teach him. Nobody can teach him. Strike of teachers at Hombe Primary.
Before you even express.
As I was climbing, they just saw me. It's because, at 3, it is like break when children, games and sports, in the schools. So kids were in games and sports towards going home because they go home at 4. There was only one teacher called the Esinikweri, Herbert, who saw me and came, and there was another deputy called Mr. Richards and Karen, the teacher Karen. They are the one who got hold of my hand and asked my mother, and when they found that they knew her as a teacher, they said, don't worry, these things happen. Then they sat me at the office. They went and talked with my mother. Then the head teacher came. When he came, he said, let me first go and talk to the teachers.
The teachers who have already rejected you.
Yes, he went and talked with them. He came and told me, I can give this man a press on condition that he will go back to P2 to learn how blind is right. To be at the level of the others. Remember, I am blind. Remember, the hands are paralyzed. So, but it was also a way of saying, take back your child. Then he said, are you willing to study? Then I said, yes. Then the deputy teacher said, this old woman can go home. She was called Jennifer Tomesiji, who was the deputy teacher. And this, madam, you can go. Anything I will care for, I will take care of him, I will send him. Because they were saying, Mommy tired. Mommy went and left me there. Now the head teacher also saw, I think by the grace of God there, he said, okay, he can be staying at my home. But the purpose of the head teacher saying I stay at his home was because this head teacher produced many girls. So he wanted to make a test and see whether I'm pretending to be blind or not. So I went to the head teacher's home, head teacher, Mr. Erinasa Nankwasa's home. So in the morning, he said, go to school. Then I said, which school? Because I kept in a room. Then one of the daughters came and took me to the bathroom. I bathed. Then as he was coming to see how they are bathing, then when I finished dressing, I kept in the bathroom. They came and removed me. The teacher was observing. And that was 98. When all that was happening now, that saga of school. So the whole of 98, I spent it in P2. And P2, the chairs of P2, the kids are like my babies whom you saw, like Jaira, my young child Jaira and Bez. That's the class of P2. And now, as an old man, I was standing behind.
Were they also blind?
No, normal girls. This is a normal girls' school, but having the element of blind children.
I thought they're taking you to P2.
No, P2, but the children, the blind children, the people are teaching them, teachers are the same. They just want you to, it's the same school. They don't have any class. They have to let you there. We could have just special lessons. Because there is no special school for blind. You study from a normal school, then you have special lessons because you have to learn other things.
The whole of 98.
I was in P2.
Someone who was in senior 2.
Yes, I was in P2. And remember, I couldn't come out of P2. Why? In the village, they are saying I'm a Chiraji. Somebody who is what? All my young brothers are studying. So I'm the only nuisance. So in my heart, I was saying, let me also be a nuisance who have studied.
Yet you can't go out of P2.
Yes.
Maybe at that very point.
Do you know the tortures I had? You know, let me tell you what I faced in that P2. When I could be moving, the girls of the primary, the teachers told them that, I was studying in P2, but I was staying in second. It is now the teacher later surrendered me because the children of the blind students stays in second. They had a dormitory there. And it's a distance. Hombe Junior, I was telling my brother, you'll go there to make that documentary, to bring it to the viewers. It's a distance. And now I could move, and then the students, the girls would take us. And remember, they had made a rule. Any girl who touches me, P7 and P6, will get pregnant. So girls feared me.
At that very point, let us first go for a commercial break,
Yes.
and then we come back.
As you think about the Lord just taking over your case and you are no longer in the midst of it, and he says, fear not.
Demons from the mountains, scream and leave.
In the name of the
Demons from the graves, scream and leave in the name of Jesus.
Welcome back from the commercial break. This is my story. Edrine Mukalazi is my name. We are with evangelist brother Henry Mugisha. He was born seeing, and then on the road, he became blind. So, brother Mugisha, before you went for the commercial break,
Yes.
you were now at Hombe Girls' School.
Hombe girls torturing me.
They have told them
That
if they touch
if
you,
they touch me, they'll get blind. Now, whenever I could go to the bathroom,
do they get blind or they get pregnant?
pregnant, sorry.
Yeah.
When I could be going to the bathroom, teachers could be seeing if I'm with any girl. Or I'm going to ease myself, so it became a very tiresome thing. You know, these
Were
are
there
the
any
people,
other boys who were blind? Or you
they
were the
were
only
they
boy?
were there, but you know I am blind. You don't see. Girls are the ones taking you to the toilet, but they have told them if you rape them, they'll get pregnant. So it is a scenario now of you have no guide. So I mean there, and then that's towards the end.
Did your
of
mom at
98.
any time come back to check on you?
You know, she feared to come because she may come and they chase me, I go with her. Then the whole of 98. Now the teacher says, since you have failed to learn how blind is right, don't come back. So at the time 98, with those, he says don't come back. But me, 99, I had to carry my mattress and I came back. Because remember that, but the teacher had said I don't come back. Then when I came back in 99, I think it was in the first term. Then the two girls, remember the two girls in a secondary school, they told them that they came and told me, want to escape with you, there is a man called Onesimus Asimo. By then, Onesimus Asimo was the teacher at Gezi High School. He was just staying near the Hombe gate, but I was blind, I never knew. Then he said, this man can pray for you and you get healed.
The present Reverend Onesimus.
The present Reverend Onesimus Asimo, who is in St. Francis
Yes,
Chapel.
St. Francis.
By then, he was a teacher in Gezi High School. Then they want to escape with me, with my white cane. Remember, I had to pass a barbed wire there with girls. Remember, they are hiding that they don't see them, because when they see them, they will expel them. One was Maria.
How had they known about Reverend Asimo?
No, he was a common person who used to pray for people. I think he was known. And he was a strong fine art teacher who was known. So they had to escape with me. I passed in the barbed wire, and to escape with a blind person is also another story. For them, they escaped, then they said, come. As I was coming, I banged my head in the barbed wire, they cut me, said, sorry, now pass here. Now they bring the hand. But when I was bleeding, they tied me with their sweaters, they rubbed the blood. I reached in the home of Onesmus Asimo. When I reached there, I heard the girl saying, there is a man to be prayed for. So Onesmus Asimo, I heard a tall voice saying, how are you? Because he knew us. He used to see us move on that street. He said, oh, you've come to be prayed for? Yes. What's your name? Henry. Okay. Then he gathered people in the family. I remember calling, come and we pray for this. So he said, what do you want? I want to see. There was silence for some time. Then afterwards, he started praying. He prayed.
I would have asked you what the silence was, but I think Reverend Asimo can answer it.
You shall ask him. You please, you'll ask him. He prayed, then for some time. I think I lost conscious.
While he was praying?
Yes, because I remember him praying, but I don't know what he prayed. I again remembered like coming from sleep, and something which was holding me here, like heavy, it came out of my eyes, and the eyes opened, and then I saw a tall man, Onesmus Asimo. I saw the two girls with my white cane. Then I had to come and I had to run away, and I leave them there. That's what I remember. I left them with the white cane.
Now, where were you going? Because you don't even know where you were.
But I saw the opening. I saw the door. We were in a sitting room. And when I reached there, I saw steps. I marched. When I reached there, I saw the home bag.
Were you conscious, or it was?
No, it was
excitement?
Like a story, because I was. Am I blind? Then I could just see maybe you get what I'm saying? I entered a gate. Somebody who had escaped. And I heard Onesmus saying, it happens. Then I entered home secondary. And girls say, Brother Henry, what has happened? They came to hold me as if I'm mad. They said, no, I'm seeing. The whole secondary gathered. It was a Saturday. Sunday, I went to church and I was happy. The girls used to put chairs in the road, knocking me down, testing me to see. Now I could see them. I was excited. Then Monday, I went home by junior.
To study.
I found I was in P2 in the kids. They said, when I entered, I looked at the kids. They said, Brother Henry, you stand there. That's why you have been standing. I marched out.
I thought they would have exempted you and sent you
I
back
marched
home.
out, and when I marched out, the head teacher, it was in the morning, the head teacher at assembly said, this boy, if you have the Onesmus Asimo prayed for you, he's a wrong prophet. We can't believe in it. So you will chase you and you go home. Imagine that Sunday, even when he prayed for me on Friday, they chased him from cathedral. Reverend Onesmus Asimo. Because in the bishops and other people never believed in the people who pray in the Church of Uganda. Even up to now, there are some bishops who don't believe in the testimony until when they get it. You know, it is very fun in the Church of Uganda. They don't believe in the testimony, but they can't even allow you to give a testimony. But when they get a testimony, when it reaches them, then you find them giving testimonies. And then, let me tell you, that was when I began to see. Then that Monday, Tuesday, I came back to school. The head teacher wanted to chase me, removed me from P2 to P5. In the same week, he put me to P7. I did P7 for the second time. 2001, I started senior one in Hombe Girls. They said this one now should go to Gezi High School in normal school. But remember, when you have just seen, you need some gradual kind of stability. But they wanted to chase me.
Because it has been 3 years.
But they wanted to chase me because I've seen girls. So I started from a girls' school, from senior 1 to senior 4. I completed senior 4, I became an OG of Hombe Girls. Senior 5, they said, he can't come here. Remember, the Hombe students used to go to Iganga Girls for A level. They never use it. I am the first A-level student.
They leave Kabale
They come
to Iganga.
to Iganga. It had never happened. But you remember me, my story, they had chased me in Iganga. They had chased, so I had no hope to go back. So my A-level, I studied to home, but they refused me to report. I reported in third term until I first went to the RDC to report to them. That I have results. Yes, I had performed very
You
well in
must
first
have
class.
been stubborn. Now how can you go to report?
But you know, I had studied from that girls' school. I had results. I was in first
But
grade.
it was a girls' school.
But I studied from there. Then the RDC of Mbarara, James Mwesije, took me there, said, this boy was here, yes. But he cannot go to a normal school. But you know, my hope was there. The RDC said, does he have any previous record? Teachers don't want to teach him. There was a deputy and other people whom I don't want to mention on air. Then the RDC said, teachers come. Then Reverend Judith Mpirirwe, Mr. Jasper Twino Muchunguzi, and the teacher called Messiah, Inid Yatunga, they said, we can teach him. I reported in third term. And they said, if he does not get 20 points, 25 points by then, we should chase him. I got 25 points, but I was promoted to senior 6. And when I reached in senior 6, I even stood, by the way, in senior 5, I stood for assistant head girl in that school. Because why I stood for assistant head girl, the girls told me, if I don't stand, they will chase me from the girls' school. So I wanted. Then I had to stand, and teacher said, this boy is mad, don't vote for him. I ended up being a treasurer for the school council in this girls' school. I completed senior 6.
But like, what prompted you to go for assistant head girl? Yet you were
They
bored.
wanted to chase me from the school. The teachers
so
were
this was,
saying,
you were trying to get security.
yes, the girls told me, if you don't stand on a prefectship, teachers are planning to chase you. You know, some teachers called the girls. Some borders, when I was blind, they used to beat me when they meet me in the way. Now I see you can't beat me. Now I can see I am very sharp. I was clever in class. I could preach the gospel. I could give my testimony. Even Bishop Katkwesije came. The former bishop said, don't chase this boy. You know, they had wanted to chase me. It is Bishop Katkwesije and the RDC and Reverend Judith Mpirirwe who protected me, the chaplain, to be in the school. Then I completed. Then when I was in my senior 6 VAC, by the way, I went for patriotism training in Chankwanzi. Patriotism had just come with my cousin, Brigadier General Masiko. And I was hiding him because I knew he knew my previous life I was blind. I knew he couldn't allow me to go for patriotism training. But I went and I scored high. And then from there, of course, from school, I went to
How long was the training?
it
The
could just...
patriotism training?
Was it 3 weeks? It was
Because
like
these days it is 2 weeks, I think.
It was 3 weeks. It
14
was
days.
like a chaka by that time. I completed. Even now, that's why I am very vibrant with patriotism. Brigadier General Patrick Mwesije, Good Samaritan, we partner with him and he gives me activities and I enjoy it, you know. I'm a patriot. I love this country. I love my country. So,
You sacrifice for the country.
that's why I told you, that's how I got my healing, and then I started Good Samaritan, started helping.
Did you start Good Samaritan after? Did you go to the university?
Immediately after I got healing in the secondary school, in my VAC, I started Good Samaritan, started helping people who have problems like I was having.
Praying for them or taking them to Reverend?
Praying for them and taking... Reverend Onesimus was chased. Asim, because he's praying for people. We who got healed benefited from him, but the church hated him because he prayed for us and we got healed. So we were circumstances of
circumstances.
Yes. So, but for us, we were not caring.
So what are some of the things that you were aiming at when you started Good Samaritan?
Good Samaritan, I wanted to remember. I wanted to help people who are not helped, like I was suffering. I wanted to touch the needy. There are many blind people who are not helped. I give out wheelchairs. I've given over 1,000 wheelchairs to Ugandans. I care for the needy people because these needy people don't have sanitary pads for girls. I mean, people, if you have never got blind, you don't know problem about blind people. If you've never got a person who is disabled in your family, you cannot know how to care for them.
Yeah.
So basically, I started the Good Samaritan to tell Ugandans, to tell the world, that even if you are not blind, even if you don't have a disabled person, you can get him and be surprised. So me, that's why I started Good Samaritan, to preach the gospel. There are many people who are very proud. But if a person has a disabled person in the home, you can call me and tell me what you are feeling. But if you don't have a disabled person or somebody who has a problem, you will keep wiseacking without knowing how life is. I'm telling you, even you, if they have never charmed you, think charm is not there. But when they charm you, you start remembering charm is there. Many Ugandans are saying, no, charm is not there. But my dear, when they charm you and you feel you wake up in the morning, there is a man they charmed around Kampala here. He woke up in the morning, he was not seeing. He gave me a call. It seems, am I myself? I'm not seeing.
It seems.
It seems. I went there. When I went to his home, he had a book. He said, somebody gave me a new diary. Where is it? But I can't see. The whole family was paralyzed. The man was blind. I touched his diary. I saw there was witchcraft. I see this is a witchcraft. I threw it down. I prayed for him. The man saw. Up to now, when you call him, I shall call him and see. When you call him, he tells you charm is there. You know, when you've never been charmed, you don't know that charm is not there. There are very many charmers in this country. There are very many selfish people who like themselves. But me, I'm telling you, it is the reality. Somebody can charm you. Somebody can deform your life. But when you have Christ, the Christ can protect you. But even when you have Christ, when you don't pray, that Christ is useless. You have to pray and be involved. You have, this habit of saying, I am preaching, I am a reverend, I am a pastor, when people are suffering in your home.
I have total protection.
I have total protection. Where? You have to protect yourself by prayer. Some of them deceive us, that they are preachers, that they help. But how many can they help? Their house girls throw food. When street kids have nothing to eat, they travel around in their vehicles. This COVID has punished them. Some of them used to travel around in the vehicles, now they have died of COVID. Now these cars, if they were taking disabilities, you need to learn how to help. Me in Good Samaritan, I say, we need each other, with or without money. And then now that's when I preach the gospel. The former Archbishop.
So when do you start preaching the gospel?
I started actually preaching the gospel, the word. I started in my senior 6 vac when the retired Archbishop.
What prompted you? Was it a calling?
No, I was feeling to preach so that I don't get blind again.
In other words, whatever you are doing, you are protecting yourself.
Even now, you know, I got a dream that serve the Lord. If you don't serve the Lord, you'll get blind again. So that's why you see, I can even walk from here and go and preach because I don't want to get blind again. I know the touch I got. And the retired Archbishop Henry Lukorombi, Reverend Onesimus Asimwe, introduced him to me in a scripture in conference. He said, you guy, keep preaching the gospel, you'll die a blessed man. So which means if I don't preach the gospel, I'll die a cursed man.
Yeah.
So I started preaching. I was preaching with Archbishop Ntagari, with Lukorombi. Now I am on an intercession team with Archbishop Kazimba. Before Archbishop Kazimba became Archbishop, I was in Mitiana 4 months. I got a dream that God go to Mitiana. Archbishop Kazimba never knew me. I went there. God showed me this will be the Archbishop of Uganda. I went there. He knows. I camped in Mitiana for the whole year before he became Archbishop. And he became one. Some people started telling me, you are a false prophet. What if he doesn't become one? Where will you go? I said, God has showed me you'll be Archbishop. Now he's one.
Thank God you didn't fall a victim.
I'm telling you. So, Reverend Onesimus Asimwe, I love him with his family. We preach together the gospel. He invites me to preach. But let me tell you, he also, in praying for me, told me one thing. Never leave the Lord. I married a beautiful wife. You will see her with children. Not blind.
So when then do you become a goodwill ambassador of the presidential initiative on Banana?
Oh, Munang. It was, I think, I first became a security supervisor for presidential initiative on Banana. That was 2000 and something. Is it 11 something? Around there, I don't know the exact. I became somebody who was blind to be security supervisor. For that project, I went to Bushenyi. Then I was heading the whole project. Then later on, I retired a bit to preach the gospel. Every activity you give me, if I don't preach, I run away from you because I fear to be blind again. So I retired. Then I started preaching. My Good Samaritan, I love it most because with or without money, we need each other. By now, there is no work which I can do better. And Good Samaritan is in the Bible. Me, I preach the Good Samaritan in the Bible, not the Good Samaritan which is they say you are here and there. No. Then recently, the Reverend Emmanuel Mulanga was a principal Bishop Barham University. The wife is Reverend Professor Florence Mulanga, is the director presidential initiative for the Banana. These are key members on preaching the gospel. Then they upgraded my ministry of now spiritual advisor to an ambassador. But of also patriotism, office of the president under Brigadier General Message. I mean, he sends me, we pattern together as Good Samaritan. Even Uganda police, Mr. Hassan Kasinje, community policing, I fight strikes. I talk about strikes. I'm an advocate. I love NRM. I love Museveni. You know why I love Museveni? Is because the RDC, James Message, said because of Museveni and God, this boy will study from here. Me, even if Museveni, you will never see me, but that RDC is the Museveni. Because he said because of NRM government. So Museveni, President Museveni started, he started special needs education. Actually, if I met...
in other words, had the RDC not come, the girls,
they wanted to chase me for A-level. Had James, the RDC message had not come to take me there, studying from home, was not there.
So, brother
Henry, yes.
What is that scripture that drives your whole life, your whole passion for Christ, and your whole ministry? That scripture you lean on, because I believe for every minister,
yes,
there is that one scripture that keeps your ministry and life moving.
You see, I have the scriptures which Reverend Onesimus Asimwe read for me when he was praying for me. Those have been my gospels. 1, Mark 10:27. I even got them in the head. Jesus looked at them and answered, with man it is impossible, but not with God. With God all things are possible. Those vehicles of ambassadors never saved me. The people who are abusing me, now I meet them. They can't now beat me.
Who insulted
those
you,
who insulted me, I now meet them. I mean, with God all things are possible. And another verse is Mark 11:24. It says, when you pray and believe, God will give you what you have prayed for. And it adds by saying, but forgive anything against anyone. I forgave those who abused me. I forgave those who hated me. By them, even if you hate me, even you abuse me, I don't. Me, I was blind. I was beaten. Do you think there is anything which can scare me in this world? If you say that you want to beat me, I have scars all over here. They beat me when I was blind. They could helpless. They could put food here like there is the glass of water. You put food, street kids come and take it away. And they tell me, if you talk in a party, if you talk, we shall beat you because you don't see. They bring an empty plate, they put it there. When they come and ask me, have you eaten? Yes. When I have not eaten. So you think the touch I got is enough. So me, what if you come to me, I know with God all things are possible. Then Numbers 14:28 says, as surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very things I heard you say. Confession is possession. Those 3 verses, Reverend Onesimus read them. He prayed for me. They have worked for me. I've got a beautiful wife. I got a wedding. Now I travel with big people.
How do you meet this wife of yours?
It's another good story. You know, I really can't even remember all of that. But what I know, God provided a wife. And now I have children. When I married, they say, this one who didn't sleep with any girl in a girls' school, he can't function. Now another story entered. Now my sister started talking to me. No, this beautiful wife, they will produce children for you because we spent like a year without producing a child. Now they said, twabagamba. Then it is Professor Mulanga and the wife who used to, and Onesimus, who used to encourage me. But others had lost hope, including my brothers, that I'm not going to produce. Because I was in a girls' school and I never slept with anybody. So nobody had the proof that I can also do anything. They started telling my wife to divorce me. How can you get married to someone who was blind? that one who doesn't function. Stories became many.
Being blind does not mean that he's not human. He's also human, and he's God-fearing, he's caring, he's handsome. So I don't see any reason for not marrying him, to me. Of course, I trusted God, because with God everything is possible. You see, my man was once blind, he can now see. Then, why wouldn't I trust God?
But God has been amazing.
How many children do you have, sir?
2. And
Wow.
the Archbishop baptized them. And we were here. We were here. The Archbishop came here, and the Professor Nwagaba was one of the godparents. Professor Chirejera, the wife of Reverend Onesimus Asime. It was really good. So I'm telling you, God changes the things. If you are despised, nobody could think I could be. Do you know now I travel in different cars? In the lockdown, I also have cars which can take me, many.
Wow.
I am not, I can preach the gospel.
As others crave to be permitted to move.
To move. Me, I have the clearance from the Lord. And I can even move on foot. The other day, I moved from here to the Archbishop's home. I have sight, meet me and you want to box me and I show you. This kind of saying I was blind ended. This nonsense of people which disturb people. Actually, me, if I if I sat with His Excellency today, I would tell him to facilitate the gospel of preaching in healing. Because many people are there. They are blind. They are neglected like how I am. Nobody can visit them. So I was giving wheelchairs. Now they are over. In this lockdown, I will tell the president to give me a car so that I go and reach the elderly. Who is reaching them?
So, Brother Henry,
Yes.
in all this, as we wind up, how do you want to be remembered?
To be remembered,
Yes.
my good Samaritan. I want it to be remembered as me, the one who has passion for people who are needy. These blind people. Actually, me, I'm handicapped. Family TV, thank you very much. There are people who don't know how they can come up. Like these girls. I told you, if I could reach people like Hombe girls, I could build for them a very big mansion, these girls' schools, so that they can accommodate many blind children. I can build a school for blind if I had money. Because there are very many children. And anybody can get blind. And please talk about COVID. In this COVID, who is caring for the vulnerable? Masks. There is Dr. Jane from Ministry of Health who gave me some little masks, which I've given to the blind people. They are not enough. Some people are giving. Family TV, please. Thank you very much for preaching the gospel. But me, I want to be remembered as an advocate for the needy. As somebody who neglected the sort of a good Samaritan. The one who is neglected is the one I want. In Katanga, that's why I stay. That's why I want to be closer to these places. In Katanga, anywhere. Don't want to preach the gospel. For example, I have preached the gospel for many years now. But you have known me today. But thank you. This message, please, the needy people should be cared for. Preach the gospel. Let them come to the Lord. You never know, we can have other blind people come and got healed.
Exactly.
Like, please, Reverend Onesimus Asim, if I would even buy him an aeroplane if I had the money, so that he goes and prays for those even in London to get healed. These are ministers. Let us feed the body in order to feed the spirit. Let us be welcoming. Let us be not pastors who want to fetch money from people.
Let's create a ground.
By the way, in this lockdown, all churches on their offertory, they should bring money to Family TV to facilitate you to go and preach the gospel. Where have they been putting this money when they have been having that sacrifice tithing? How can you build a church when you have not building the people? Let them bring this money to pay a loan of church house, so that this church house in the future, it can facilitate the needy people. You know me, I look at the need. Tomorrow you are going to get blind, to get old. You need a wheelchair. Where will you get it from? The wheelchairs which I had are getting old. Now we are in lockdown. The whites who were giving me can't give me. Some died. Ugandans, you can help. Please.
Ugandans too can be donors.
Can be donors. Ugandans be donors. And me, the first donation I'm calling upon, let them invest money in family TV to go, like you reach people. You know what they are suffering from. You never know. This testimony of mine is going to encourage someone.
Exactly.
And when it encourages someone, please, family TV, let you be facilitated. Me, I can't facilitate, you don't have the money. But let those who have, who put the bars are closed, let them put that investment in family TV and the other things, my dear.
So that it will bless very many Ugandans.
Please invest in the ministry. Invest in the needy. There are people who have started needy groups so they benefit themselves. No.
They attract donors.
They attract donors, then they build the houses in their own. Me, I am telling you, go to Hombe. I have good Samaritan clubs. You will go Hombe High School, Kigezi High School Primary, secondary, Gezi College Butobere, in the whole country. I've moved in the whole country preaching the gospel.
Thank you so much for your story. It is indeed a testimony. Like he has said, you don't need to attract very many. Start with your immediate neighbor who sleeps on an empty stomach.
Yes.
You can give them that food. Don't give it to the dogs. The dogs will never appreciate you. But this neighbor will pray for you. This blessing will last. Thank you so much for watching Family TV. We are indeed grateful you who started with us and you are still with us. As for my story, we are signing out. Remember, you who came in late or you wish to have your friend, your neighbor, your relative who you want to watch this story and has missed today's episode, this story will be repeated on Wednesday at exactly 7 p.m. But you can as well check out on our social media platforms. That is Family TV Uganda, YouTube, Family TV Uganda, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You'll always follow the updates. Endeavor to subscribe on the YouTube channel and endeavor to like the page. Edrine Mukalazi is my name. I've worked with Jonah Jal, the producer, Tony Santo on social media, and Bantam in transmission. Good night and God bless you.